Welcome to the Pathfinder Outdoor Kitchen. I'm Matt Mercer, instructor for the Pathfinder School and the founder of the Black Hat Bushcraft channel right here on YouTube. And one of my very favorite things about Pathfinder Outdoor Kitchen is the fact that the theme of the show is cooking outdoors. Now, that can be so many different things. If you guys have followed me for long, you probably know that I'm an avid bushcraft person, and for me, it gets no better than going out into the woods, getting a nice open fire going, and slow cooking some food over that fire. That's just as good as it gets. However, I understand that not everybody has access to woods, and not everybody can go out and start open fires to cook on. But everybody, for the most part, can cook outdoors with just some very simple equipment and a very simple setup. Whether it be from your family's barbecue grill in the backyard to something even more simple, which we're gonna do today. So I've come out to my family's farm. I've just pulled out here to the edge of the field. As you can see my truck behind me, I've got some very simple equipment with me, some Pathfinder gear, of course, and we're gonna cook up a delicious picnic lunch right here by the edge of the field. It's not gonna require a whole lot of gear, and I hope that you guys will enjoy this simple setup. So, I'm excited about today's show, I'm excited about the food, and of course I'm excited about today's winner, one of our subscribers who will be receiving some free Pathfinder outdoor cooking gear. All that coming up on today's episode of Pathfinder Outdoor Kitchen, and I hope you guys will stick with me for it. Let's get started. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about today's recipe, and of course today's winner. Congratulations, Thomas E., for your submission of a skillet cobbler. Now, once again, we'll be using our 8-inch stainless steel Pathfinder skillet today to improvise a Dutch oven. We'll be using that recessed lid to hold coals on top so that we can cook both from the bottom and the top with this skillet and make up a delicious cobbler. Now, in all honesty, I have done this many times in the Pathfinder skillet, the 10-inch skillet really, and I've done it in Dutch ovens for years and years, a very similar recipe to this. So I'm looking forward to this. I know it turns out good, and I know how delicious it's gonna be. So if you've never tried this, this is gonna be a good one. Once again, thank you, Thomas. I appreciate you sending this one to me and giving me a chance to enjoy this once again. Alright, so let's talk about the very simple cooking system that we're going to use today. First of all, I just have a paver stone, which comes from the local hardware store, and I use that often when I light charcoal in the backyard. Just gives you a moisture barrier from the ground, and it keeps you from killing off the grass wherever you do this. I just like charcoal in a simple chimney like this. Works perfect, and you don't have to use lighter fluid. I also understand that not everyone has the opportunity to go out in the woods and collect firewood off the landscape, and maybe you don't keep processed firewood at your house, but what everybody can do is go to the store and purchase a bag of charcoal to cook over, and you always get good results with charcoal. It adds awesome flavor to your food. I also understand that not everyone has room in their backyard for a large barbecue grill, but you can have something like this, which is a folding stainless steel grill that comes from Reliance Outfitters. Very simple setup, and used in conjunction with a paver stone like this, it gives you a way to grill food right on the ground without killing the grass. It makes just for a simple, effective setup, and that's what we're going to use today. So I'm looking forward to cooking like this, and I hope this will be a good idea that'll benefit some of you guys that don't have access to some of the other methods that you've seen me cook with. So on a recent outing out into the woods, I collected up some river birch bark here in this bandana, and so we're just going to use that stuff down in the bottom of this chimney, along with a little bit of the Kingsford bag. So you can see what that stuff looks like here. I'm losing it all over the place. We'll put that down in here. Pick up some pieces that are dropped. All right, so we'll use that. We have our charcoal here. And I always just put some of that paper from the bag down into the bottom. Compressed material always burns slower. If you take that paper like that and twist it up, it'll burn a lot slower in the charcoal chimney there and help get this stuff ignited. We'll just move this chimney here, ignite some of that stuff, set it back in place, and we're good to go. It's just a matter of waiting on our charcoals to get going. All right, so while our charcoals are getting right, let's go ahead and prep our cobbler. And you can see that the ingredients for this are very simple. We have 1 can of peaches, 1 box of cake mix, cinnamon, sugar. We'll have some butter here at the end, but it's very simple. We're gonna open up our can of peaches here, and we're gonna drain off half the juice roughly, according to the recipe. Now, when I've done this in the past, what I've done is used pie filling instead, and I've used all types of fruit for pie filling, and that works great. I've done combinations of pie filling, just always turns out good. I think I'm gonna drain just a little bit more of that juice off there, and what I'll do is just put the lid on my skillet and we'll just drain that off there. And I apologize if you guys hear some highway noise, as I'm right here in the backyard, so to speak. So, all right, so we got our peaches in there. They look delicious. Now, what we're gonna do is add in some sugar. I think we're supposed to use 2 tablespoons of sugar, but I'm gonna just eyeball that, because that's how I measure in the field. I'm pretty much an eyeball kind of guy. And then I like to add a little extra, because it's always good to have extra, right? All right, and now we're gonna put some cinnamon. I think the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, but I'm gonna go heavy because I love some cinnamon. That's probably at least 2 tablespoons. It's gonna be delicious. All right, and the next thing we have to do is add half of our box of yellow cake mix. And I just have buttered golden, but whatever cake mix you like to use with this, you can do. And we're gonna just put half of this pack. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do is the smart way. I'm gonna use my knife and just cut the corner off so we can kind of control the flow here. Just cut that corner off like that. And now it's just an eyeball thing here. You don't want to go too thick with this cake mix, because if you do, it's hard for it to mix together, I guess. You have to add extra butter to counter extra cake mix, if that makes sense. That looks pretty good right there. I'm not going to go any further with that. What I'm going to do is just take my spoon and kind of mix that stuff in just a little bit there. And what we want to do now is cover this with dollops of butter. We want to make sure we have plenty of butter with this. Well, of course, all the smoke from the charcoal started to smoke me out, so I moved to the tailgate here. Nice that we have that available to us. So I'm just going to use this whole half stick of butter here, and we're going to slice it up into thin little dollops. We're going to take those and just put all the way around our cobbler here. And that butter becomes very important in making this topping turn out right. So don't skimp on the butter. If you're on a diet, this is definitely not the recipe for you. This is for when you want to splurge. This one is for cheat day. I'm going to put that thick one right in the middle. And I did bring some extra butter just in case this didn't look like enough. And of course, I won't be able to eat this entire skillet full of peach cobbler. I hope. No promises, right? All right, we'll put the lid on it for now, and we'll get it ready to cook here soon. All right, so I think our coals are good enough that we can get our cooking stuff set up here. I'm just gonna make a little bed of coals here for our skillet. Now, we're gonna cook our dessert first today, because hot dogs don't take very long. What I'm gonna do is just place this skillet here on the coals, and I'm gonna use this shovel to put some up here on the top. And cooking with charcoal makes it very easy to regulate your heat, because everything is very uniform. All right, we'll see how that does. We'll give it a few minutes. Just look at that view out there. I am absolutely sure that the camera doesn't do it justice. Just a beautiful day that I've been blessed with. All right, so I can tell that my cobbler is getting probably pretty cooked on the bottom of this pan. So what I'm gonna do is lift that up and just let it cook from the top a little bit longer. And then I'm gonna get my coals right to cook hot dogs on. So this is still cooking, but I know there was a lot of heat from the bottom. We're just gonna let that top bake off. A lot of times that's the part that takes the longest. So we'll let that sit here and cook from the top down. We'll get things prepped for hot dogs. By the way, do you have a favorite recipe that you like to cook up when you're spending time in the great outdoors, maybe camping, or just cooking in the backyard like I'm doing today? If so, go ahead and submit that recipe over to the email address at the bottom of your screen, and that'll get your name and your recipe entered into our data bank of recipes that I pull from each time I come out to film a new episode of our show. So I hope to hear from you guys very soon, because I look forward to trying your favorite recipes outdoors, and I look forward to making sure that some of you guys will be winning free Pathfinder outdoor cooking gear coming to you from Reliance Outfitters. Don't wait, submit that recipe today. All right, so it's been about 5 more minutes since I took this off of the coals. And what I'm gonna do is, once again, just rake these charcoals off my lid. And I've got a really good idea that this stuff is gonna be ready. All right, so let's lift this lid and take a look. Be very careful with that. Oh man, I want you guys to look at this. That is absolutely beautiful. It smells delicious. And so what I'm gonna do is put the top back on this, now that I know it's ready. I'm gonna just set that aside, and I'm gonna get my grill set up here, and we're gonna cook up some hot dogs. So as you can see, I saved some coals here for the hot dogs. I'm gonna just put my grill right here on top of that. This works out just perfect. And I'm gonna give that a few minutes to heat up, sterilize, and then we're gonna cook some hot dogs. All right, so I think our rolls are nice and toasted. Here's how I like to test them. Yep, got that nice crunchy center, still soft on the inside. We're ready to take our hot dogs off the grill. They look mighty fine. Oh yeah. All right, so for these hot dogs today, we're gonna keep it simple with just mustard and ketchup. Now I do love chili on a hot dog, and I love slaw and relish and all those good things, but sometimes mustard and ketchup is good enough. And so that's what we're gonna use today. And as you can tell, I'm not super neat about that. All right, so we got some nice messy mustard and ketchup hot dogs. Time to eat. So obviously I haven't done an official meal reveal because the star of the show is in that skillet. But it is time to eat these hot dogs. And of course, before I eat any meal in the great outdoors, I'll take just a moment to give thanks. All right. Well, let's see if I can get it on my shirt. Little crunch there. Little crispy on the edge of the bun, soft in the center. Just perfect. So nothing could be more American than hot dogs cooked on the grill. However, it's like cooking in the great outdoors. There's a limitless number of ways they can be done. And there's so many different types of toppings and actual hot dogs themselves. Beef hot dogs, mixed meat hot dogs, pork hot dogs. There's just a ton of different types. And so I'm curious, what's your personal favorite? Do you have a brand that you like and are loyal to? If so, comment down below. I'm curious what you guys like. Our area, I grew up on bright leaf hot dogs, Carolina Packers. They're red hot dogs, and they're made out of pork and turkey and some different meats mixed together. A lot of people hate them, but the people that love them really love them. And to me, they're just top. So I'm curious, what do you love? Comment down below with the type and brand that you like best. All right, so you guys know what it's time for to serve up this delicious peach cobbler. And I'm not gonna be shy with this stuff. All right, so you guys know it's time for that official dessert reveal. Oh man, look at all them peaches with sugar and cinnamon and all that butter cooked in with that yellow cake. You guys know that this is gonna be absolutely delicious. With a hot dog in reserve, I am winning today, and I cannot wait to eat all this delicious dessert. Oh yeah. All right, so I've just made myself right at home here on the ground, and I'm ready to enjoy this delicious peach skillet cobbler. And I know it's gonna be good because I've done this before. Absolutely perfect. This stuff is so good and it's so simple. And really, how can you go wrong with peaches and sugar, cake mix, butter, and cinnamon? I mean, those things can't mess up. Just don't burn it. And of course, cooking this stuff, heat regulation is very important, so you want to keep a close eye on it. Remember, if you're cooking in something like the Pathfinder skillet versus cast iron, it's going to cook a lot faster than it does in a Dutch oven. Like a third or less, maybe a quarter of the time, it cooks up really fast, which is nice because on a day like today where I'm not trying to spend a whole long time out here in camp or whatever, I'm just trying to get some chores done, do some cooking, have a nice lunch, and move on. That's nice. It cooks up quick. So whenever I've made this stuff in the past, I've always used peach pie filling instead of peaches and light syrup. And I have to tell you guys, it is way better like this with the peaches and syrup as opposed to the pie filling. That pie filling can be way too sweet and too thick sometimes. This is absolutely perfect. So Thomas, thank you again for this recipe because I much prefer this type of peaches as opposed to the other. And I'm sure that if you cut up fresh peaches and put them in sugar, that would just be over the tops. So just to throw out a couple of extra ideas with this, you could use any type of fruit, canned fruit or pie filling. All of it turns out really good. I've done like blueberries with pineapple on top. I've put pecans in this, walnuts. You can really just expand on this. Brown sugar crumble on top. There's just so many ways that you can modify this to make it to your taste and to your liking. So don't be afraid to experiment. Don't worry about measurement so closely. You can always add a little extra. It's not gonna make a difference. But the one thing I recommend is go heavy on butter. A lot of extra butter on top of that thing, as you saw that we did today, will really make it turn out right. It'll mix in with that cake mix, create a little crust on top, and it's just absolutely delicious. We always called it dump cake, but if you've never tried this, really give it a try. The kids will love it, especially if you're spending time in camp or in the park or whatever. This is just a simple, easy thing to make, and everybody will love it. Well, once again, clean plate here on Pathfinder Outdoor Kitchen. So I want to take just a minute to thank you guys for your time, interest, and support. We appreciate you tuning in for these episodes, and most importantly, we appreciate what you do to support Self-Reliance Outfitters and the Pathfinder School. I know I speak on behalf of everyone when I say that to you. And don't forget to submit those recipes to the email address listed down below. It's always great to have a variety of recipes to pull from depending on the season or the conditions. Different recipes make the show fun and exciting, so don't forget, submit those things down to me, and I hope to hear from you soon. Until the next episode, you guys take care and be safe. I'll see you soon. This recipe was so good I could probably lick the plate clean enough not to do dishes.